Manchester, England has been home to one of the world's most renowned music scenes, reaching a fever pitch in the late 1980s and early 90s, when Manchester was internationally known as Madchester. Manchester is also home to Hopwood Hall Estate, my ancestors' 600-year-old house originally built in the 1400s. Amazingly, the seeds of the vibrant music culture can be followed back to the 1960s when a brand new nightclub was established inside Hopwood Hall. Although abandoned in the 1990s, the nightclub still remains today and served as a local hotspot where many up-and-coming acts performed before they were famous. Oh, hello. Welcome to my nightclub. We are inside Hopwood Hall and it's absolutely freezing, which is why I'm dancing. And today I'm going to show you the former nightclub where all sorts of famous acts played here at Hopwood Hall in the 1960s and 70s. But before we do that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to be alerted about our latest content and get ready for our tour of our derelict nightclub. Wow! Welcome to Hopwood Hall Nightclub. After the hall was vacated, the nightclub quickly fell into major disrepair. Vandals and thieves attacked. Windows were broken, vines began growing in, and water seeped down the walls. The story begins in the 1960s. And back then, a group of Christian brothers had moved into the hall and were operating it as a teacher training college. And one of the things that they wanted was to allow their students and provide their students with some nighttime entertainment. So apparently they let the students figure out the spot where they would have a nightclub. They had a full liquor license and beer license, and then they went out and started to look for bands. Now, if you haven't seen some of our other videos, you might be wondering why and how Hopwood Hall fell out of the Hopwood family after 500 years of living here. And really, it truly is because of World War I and the devastating effects that it had on the family and the staff. After that, it became part of the Lancashire Cotton Company, and then shortly after that, it became part of the De La Salle Teacher Training College. And that is why students began living here in Hopwood Hall instead of the family. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear, but you can definitely check out our other videos to learn more about it. This is the stage where so many bands once played here. This is where I've heard from former students that Ozzy Osbourne once was up here performing, and his wife Sharon was here over in the wings, and apparently she was upset with him and tossed a beer at him. I have no idea if that's true, but that's what I've been told. Sir Anthony Hopkins once gave a speech up here, and Thin Lizzy was said to have played here, Madness, UB40, and I've even been told that John Lennon once drove over from Liverpool, which isn't too far away, to help support a friend's band right here at Hopwood Hall on this very stage.
We had some fantastic bands here, local bands. People may have heard of Delicious Poison in Spiral Carpets. We even had Les Gray's Mud here for one of the Christmas parties. So, you know, it was an all-round entertaining place here.
It's been fantastic to talk to so many people in the community, so many past students who remember wonderful memories of Hopwood Hall and how this bar and this space in particular, see that leak? Functioned so well, and how many wonderful memories that people have from here.
My room was over the left speaker of the disco. So 3 nights a week, there was no point going to bed. You might as well be in the disco because the music was so loud that yeah, you might as well join the party.
So here we are directly above the nightclub, and this is directly above the stage in the nightclub. So I think this possibly may have been Barbara's room, one of these 4 rooms. To think how fun that they would have just been living right up here, right upstairs from just a bumping nightclub. Would have been a good time, I'm sure. And to think these are very historic rooms. This is where the servants would have lived at one point before the nightclub existed. So you think butlers and cooks and maids and chauffeurs would have been up in this area quite often. you can almost feel the energy of how fun it would have been to live here and just how convenient. You know, there would have been this incredible fun party scene downstairs, all your friends having a great time, laughing, music, bands, all of that going on, and it's just right below you, you know. You don't even need a taxi ride home. You just go right down these little stairs or right back up to your bed. So I can understand why so many of the students remember these days as being so fond and incredible. You can feel the memories in the walls. So here is some old wallpaper here in one of the students' rooms as well. Look at this, it is just like all peeling away and cracking away. Oh wow, look, so you've got several layers here of wall coverings. This looks to me like more maybe 1970s, and then this looks kind of 1960s era. It's really fun to just strip back the layers of the history and the time that people were residing in here. Just amazing. Although I just remembered, I think that somebody told me old wallpaper has arsenic in it, so I probably need to go wash my hands. And here, again, more wallpaper. This definitely looks like it's from the 60s with all this crazy psychedelic color scheme going on. It kind of gives you an idea of the mood and the mode of what was going on here. But I'm definitely not going to touch that one.
At the weekends, there'd be a disco here at the hall in that rather bizarre psychedelic sort of ban the bomb type disco, black disco that there was, but we loved it there. We had quite a lot of American students on campus, so we celebrated Thanksgiving for them. And I remember we had a Wapatui party, which is a type of punch. And I thought, it's just orange, is this? They haven't made a right good job of this. It's just orange. Until I stood up, and then I realised, nah, that's, whoa, everything's spinning.
So this would have been a very, very popular area. This is where the bar was, right here. Over in this corner, you can still see this old cigarette machine hidden here behind some of the scaffolding. This is where all of the drinks were made, right here. Maybe we should just stay here for a little bit. As you can see, it's a huge cavernous space. The students had painted it all black, and it held hundreds of people. And you can also see that the students did their own artwork here. They've got murals, artistic graffiti, and all sorts of different things. For instance, over here they've got, I think this says hip. They're still looking for the hop. I think we should check and see if anybody became a famous artist who once went here. Maybe we've got a Banksy here somewhere on our hands. Now behind the bar is this boarded up room that we can't go into right now, but that is the historic old brewery of Hopwood Hall. Then after the nightclub was added on here, they continued to use it as a brewery, as I understand it, and that's where they would have kept all their kegs and beer and cold store with the tubes running out here to the bar where they could pour the drinks. This is where the work crew has been finding different old beer cans and things just kind of scattered around the nightclub, and so they put them here for us. This is Holsten Pils Lager, which says right on the can, strong in alcohol. Boddington's Bitter Best in old Newcastle. Oh my gosh. Looks like an old vinyl record. Donna Summer. Journey to the Center of Your Heart. We would have had young people, students coming up these stairs, maybe coming up this long corridor, waiting in line to get into the nightclub. Look at this water is coming down on me. That's not good. So this would have been the entrance to the nightclub. Probably a different door would have been here, maybe no door at all. But if you look above me, here is this very, very old threshold above the door. This is hundreds of years old, what they call a lintel, as you might know from one of our earlier videos. But the fun thing is, right as you cross the threshold, you have this centuries-old lintel right above this poster here, which is back to, I can't even see a date on it, from the 22nd of April some year, probably the 1970s or 80s. Standing out here, it's hard to wrap my mind around the history of the hall. When you look over here, this is a newer section that was added, the old servants' wing, and it's just beyond that where the 1960s disco was, a nightclub. And then I walk right over here, and in this room behind me is the banquet room where Chopin once played. So you really think about it, we have everybody from Chopin to Ozzy Osbourne, and to think just behind me, people would have been dressed in their powdered wigs and buckled shoes and dancing. And over here, they would have been in their bell-bottoms and polyester suits. Pretty wild. This is the stage. There's an old door here that's covered by all sorts of debris and things, but that was the side stage door, probably where Sharon Osbourne was waiting to splash Ozzy with her beer. Sharon, if you're watching, please let us know if this is true. And if anybody else out there is watching and has any memories of past bands that played here, or any of these memories, if you can tell us or share your experience with them, we'd love to hear it in the comments below. Now, what does every nightclub have? Restrooms. Here we go into the toilets. And a lot of history probably happened in these rooms here. You can see the windows are all boarded up, and we've left these holes in here for air, just to let circulation get in here, because one of the issues we have is dry rot, and we can't have it growing, and one of the ways to kill dry rot is letting air circulate in. So you can see here, there is some, what was dry rot is now dying off or died off. And of course, over here is the old urinal. So to think how many Grammy award-winning artists probably once stood there and took a wee themselves. Who knows, maybe even John Lennon himself. Oh, hello. Just kidding. So you can just see all of the destruction where the water was pouring in here, and lots of just issues. Now, you might remember from one of our earlier videos where I showed we actually replaced this beam here with a steel beam. This was an old wood beam that was centuries old, but it was full of dry rot because it was leaking from these windows up there that you can see the light from. They had been smashed out, and the water was running down and started causing major issues and rot with the wood beam. So one of the things that had to happen was that wood beam came out, and we resupported it with steel and rebuilt these walls so they didn't collapse. This was an area that said get down and boogie, but that crumbled. It was all wet behind there and started coming down. I've been told by a lot of people here in Manchester that there's a very interesting representation of the Madchester music scene that took place in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and that film is called 24-Hour Party People. So I'm definitely going to have to check this out, do a little more research, see if any of those people or personalities or events were somehow connected to what was going on here at Hopwood Hall at the time. I can't wait to clean this all up and get it functioning again, scraping the old peeling off paint and bring it back. Get this entire stage area going. That's where they would have had the lights hooked to the stage lighting. So maybe we can bring that back, get some bands playing here again. And here is a very interesting piece of graffiti. It says, wow. And I really think that is sort of an interesting juxtaposition between that and this old plaster ceiling that collapsed from the long gallery, and we've now placed it here, sort of to put it back together, to understand better how it was laid out so that we can rebuild it, repurpose it again in the future, put it back up. This is the original stage door. This leads onto the stage. This is where all of the band's equipment would have been loaded and unloaded. They probably would have had their van or truck pull up over here, taken the equipment out, set it up, played their crazy gig, had a great night, and then they would have unloaded and exited through this door. So it's pretty cool to think about all the famous acts that probably came in and out of this exact passageway. And here is a dusty old window. This looks into the stage. And I don't know if they had a curtain over this or what, or maybe if some of the local kids used to sneak up and try to watch the action and watch the bands from this back window. But it's pretty cool to look in here and just see what would have been here. So now this is the stage view from the stage. This is what all those bands that were playing, this is what they would have seen. Well, in much better condition, but when they were looking out at the nightclub, this is the view they would have seen. Would have been standing right up here, playing their instruments, singing, performing to a crowd of hundreds, I suppose. So this is one of the windows that's in the old servants' wing that you've seen on one of our previous videos, but this would have originally looked into one of the servants' bedrooms, probably, possibly a kitchen. But in later years, when the nightclub was here, this became the green room. Now, this is where some of the bands would have probably hung out and had a drink in here, or just relaxed before their show. We've got a temporary ceiling in here to hold this area together, the walls and everything, but you can kind of see, it's not a huge room, but it led out here, and, oh, it's dark in here. And then that door leads to the stage. It's closed right now, but this is where they would have gone in onto the stage. And then this is an exit. Talk about crazy timing. How is this? Bob let me know that he was upstairs in one of the rooms that used to be a student bedroom above the nightclub, and he saw a crack in the wall, and upon further investigation realized that it is actually a secret cubby hole behind the wall. So he removed a bit of the plaster and reached inside and found these old artifacts. He set them aside for me. I'm gonna go take a look. A little bit sketchy. Oh, is that light coming through the floorboards? Yes, it is. Not sure I actually want to step there, but I don't hear it creaking. I think I'm okay. Oh, gosh. Okay, so this is the room where he found the stuff in a cubby hole. I assume it was probably over there. He's got the barriers up. Now, if you see that, that actually goes straight down into the nightclub. But here's the box of stuff that he has pulled this out. And so I'm just gonna kind of take a look. It looks like a bunch of old papers. Almost, but there's definitely something in there. Oh wait, what's that? Oh wow. So this is some kind of drawing. Whoa, whoa, it's a face. Oh, a little bit creeped out now. Is it? It's not a rotted, is this a voodoo doll or something? It's got hair on it. Oh, what's this? That's upside down. Let me see if I can pull that out. No person under 18 years of age is admitted into this room. Oh my gosh, this must have been some kind of sign outside the nightclub. The fact that this is still in here, in this cubbyhole in the wall, is just mind-blowing. Oh, what is that? It's like a little metal vial or something. A tin vial. I wonder what is in it. Oh my gosh. It's like a white powder or something. Okay, I put everything back into this box and I'm gonna take it downstairs and bring it to the archive club so that they can go through it and look through it very gingerly, very carefully, piece by piece to see what we have here and what kind of story it might tell. Okay, so this is the box of stuff, and all this was tucked into a cubby hole in the walls.
Oh, that's nice.
So I just started pulling it out piece by piece, but it's, you know, it's just drawings and there's all sorts of stuff in here.
Oh,
Ah!
I see that. We saw that before, didn't we? Yeah, it's like a doll's head.
Yeah, it's obviously the art club.
Yeah.
It
But,
looks like
That's old,
a
that
toilet
doesn't it?
roll, middle of a
Oh, yeah,
toilet
it's a
oh,
toilet
you think
roll,
that's
yeah.
made out of a toilet
Yeah.
roll?
Yeah.
That's what that looks like, yeah.
I thought it was a real
An old-
head at first,
oh.
yeah. I thought somebody
It
was...
might be a tutor.
Oh, so this is I hadn't seen this before. So, you know, this is actually repeated in some of the tiles in the fireplaces.
Really?
So they painted something from
They must have
the
been
hall.
around, mustn't
Yeah, yeah.
they? Yeah, they must have been around looking and doing paintings.
Instead of playing cards.
Cigarettes, it's cigarettes.
Oh, is this cigarettes?
From the end, it's 20 cigarettes.
This probably came out of the cigarette machine that was in there.
Oh,
So we just found this newspaper that has a date on it of August 14th, 1955. So that's 68 years ago. Wouldn't that be weird if it was your birthday paper?
Oh, yeah.
What?
oh yeah.
So this little vial has a couple of different clues on it. One, it says Ayrton's on the top of it, I believe. Ayrtons. Maybe you can see that. And then there is a little label on it that is from McDivitt Pharmacy, and it says tin, T-I-N, powder. With these clues, we're going to do a little Google search here. This actually is a powder that was prescribed way back when from Ayrton's that was mixed with a little bit of water and it became a paste. And then it was used for skin care. So I don't know where your minds were. This was simply so someone could have beautiful glowing skin as they headed out into the nightclub. I'm hoping that somebody is watching this and they say, oh my gosh, that was my stuff, that was in my wall. So if somebody is out there and you're watching and this was yours, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you and know a little bit more about when and where this was from. I've really enjoyed learning so much local lore about the history here and the legends. It just makes you really think, wow, a lot of really incredible things have happened here on these grounds. It's always been a home for artists, and no matter what we do here, we want to continue that, welcoming in the community, welcoming in people from near and far to experience the arts and experiencing all that Hopwood Hall has to offer. A lot of you are asking if we're actually going to have a true nightclub in Hopwood Hall. More likely, we'll probably have a multi-purpose event space where we can do art showings, parties, events, weddings, community gatherings, those kind of things. And then, if needed, we can set up a nightclub on the night. Of course, there's a lot of work to do before then. We have to continue to shore things up. It will be completely renovated and refurbished in the future. We're gonna have to do all new plumbing, all new electrics, painting, taking out anything that is old materials that aren't good for the fabric of the hall. All of that's gonna have to be done. New windows, new doors, the list goes on and on and on. It is a huge space, so it's gonna take a lot of time, energy, but we do have some great design ideas for it. If any of you have ideas for the design, please let us know. We'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And we also will be doing a future vision video about the hall and about the nightclub in general. So does anybody feel like putting on their polyester suit and coming on over and getting down and boogieing with me? If you're liking these videos, please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to be alerted about our latest content. And if you want to see more videos, please join us on Patreon. And we also have a TikTok channel. Hope to see you over here someday. And we can keep going the night away. Hey, favorites. Thank you for hanging until the very end. If you'd like to read my book called Downton, Shabby from HarperCollins, it is a story about Hopwood Hall. It's available for purchase online. Thank you so much.